When I was in university, honestly, I thought I was doing everything right. I graduated top 1% of my high school. I got into a double degree in engineering and mathematics. I was about to go to one of the most prestigious universities in my city. I was the definition of a really, really good student. But the moment I graduated high school, reality hit me like a truck. I had the grades, I had the paper, I had the discipline, yet I still had no clue how to actually make money and be successful in life. And here's the truth, university teaches you how to think, but not how to actually earn. And the reason I know this is right after I quit university, I went from 0 to 40K a month in under a year, and I'm still in this industry to this day. So in this video, I'm gonna break down exactly why university doesn't teach you how to make money and what to do instead. Now, the first thing you have to understand is university doesn't teach you how to make money, it teaches you how to make someone else money. For context, if you actually do some research and look at colleges and how the education system was even founded, you'll find that universities were built during the Industrial Revolution. Its purpose was to produce reliable, obedient workers, not creators, not builders, not entrepreneurs, not people who think outside the box. And when you graduate, you'll realize that you've been trained to follow systems and not create them. And a really good analogy to explain this is imagine university and imagine life like a video game. University trains you to be the perfect player. You follow all the rules, you collect the points, you climb the levels, you might be the best possible player in that game. However, entrepreneurship, business, teaches you how to be a designer. You're the one who makes the rules. You build the world. And you can even sometimes decide what winning even means at the end of the day. And to share a story with you, I was always fascinated by mathematics and physics and science, and I loved those subjects. Like, honestly, still to this day, I enjoy those subjects. And I found it very fun thinking through complex problems, equations, patterns, matching certain things to others. I really liked that style of thinking. However, what I realized was I could solve complex equations for other people. I could solve these meaningless things that weren't going to make me money, weren't going to give me freedom, weren't going to give me the lifestyle that I want. But I couldn't answer the simple question of how do I actually conquer life? How do I win in life? That was the one thing that university and even like the schooling system just didn't teach me at the end of the day. So the main takeaway here is university builds employees and financial freedom requires a different level of education, one that's actually built on leverage, skill, and independence. And even for the students who love learning, there's a problem. University doesn't teach the real world, it teaches theory. You graduate knowing formulas, but not really knowing how to get paid. So what happens is you learn all these models, frameworks, definitions, but you don't actually understand how to sell, how to market, how to negotiate, how to network, how to manage people, how to be a leader. And these are skill sets that you don't learn in university, but are extremely useful in the real world. And at the end of the day, university rewards memorization, not monetization. For example, I was really great in exams all throughout high school and even at the start of university. I would ace pretty much every exam that I took. However, when I entered the real world, none of that mattered. Because what I realized was money doesn't reward knowledge at the end of the day. It rewards execution. It rewards leverage. It rewards skill, right? And a really good analogy to describe this is imagine two people competing to become pro boxers, okay? And there's only one spot that's going to be selected and there's two people competing for it. One guy has done boxing in the ring for a year, and for the remaining 4 years of his life, all he's done is read hundreds and hundreds of books of the greatest boxing players in the world. That's all he's done, right? 4 years of reading books and 1 year of actually in the ring. Compared to the other guy who spent 5 years, he's read 0 books, but he spent 5 years in the ring battling mistake after mistake after mistake. Who do you think is going to get the job? Who do you think is going to get selected? Who do you think is going to be the better player? It's going to be the guy that's gone through the experience, right? And at the end of the day, people can't afford to take risks and train you up because the world just isn't a nice place like that. At the end of the day, they reward experience and they reward skill set. So main takeaway here is knowledge only matters when it's applied, and money doesn't care how smart you are or how much knowledge you have. It only cares about how much value you can actually create in this world. Sweet. And that goes into the next thing that I've noticed, and this is why so many business degrees fall flat. Because most of the people teaching business degrees have never built one themselves. You can't teach someone how to make money if you've never done it yourself. And most business professors and lecturers have never actually built a business off the ground. They might have read case studies, they might have worked in them, but they don't live them. So you end up learning about all this success and actually not from success. And I remember this very clearly. Back when I was studying in university, I used to do an engineering degree and maths. So it wasn't business related. However, I had a lot of friends that actually did business degrees. And what I found was They always told me that the classes were boring or, they weren't really learning a lot of stuff. And honestly, I didn't really believe them at the start because I used to be a big believer in education and university back then. So I actually sneaked into one of the lectures, just curious to see what they were talking about because I always had an interest in business. And just after taking a couple of lectures, I realized that, damn, first of all, the professor hasn't launched a business of his own. Second of all the methods that they taught were already online. The information was already there. And they were basically getting us to regurgitate and memorize like this very traditional line of business that is probably the least effective way to go about it from all the business experience that I have right now. And coming back to that boxing analogy, this is going to sound like a no-brainer. Imagine trying to learn boxing from someone that's never boxed. That sounds pretty stupid, right? So why is it acceptable with university? Why have people done this for decades? Because, like I was telling you, this is the way the world works. And we've just done this for so long. Your parents have done it, your parents' parents have done it, and their parents have done it, that has become normalized now. And that's just the way the world works. And that's a topic for another day. But the main takeaway here is learn from people that have actually achieved what you want in life and not people that are just talking about it. And proximity to those people will get you there way faster than any piece of paper will. And even if you somehow make good money after graduating, there's a new problem. Let's say you make 200,000, 300,000 a year, right? Whatever it is. No one ever taught you how to actually manage that money. So for context, they'll teach you calculus, they'll teach you equations, they'll teach you about all these scenarios, but they won't teach you about how to manage your cash flow. I graduated top of my class. I didn't even know how taxes or investing worked. How crazy is that, right? I still had no clue how taxes worked, even while I was in university and high school. And what I realized is the education system prepares you to earn money, I guess, by trading your time for it, but not to keep it and not to multiply it, right? And the reason I know this is true is I have friends that are still in university to this day that have either graduated or are about to graduate. And when they come to me for advice about managing their money or multiplying their money, I find that none of them actually understand how taxes work. And it's like I have to teach someone from scratch again. Like they don't understand about investing into things. They don't understand things about stocks, bonds, property, taxes, tax setups. Like none of these things they actually understood. So the main takeaway here is all the financial literacy that I learned was self-taught by me going through and starting a business. And what entrepreneurship tells you is it forces you to learn these things. It forces you to understand how taxes work. And also, even if your university does teach you the traditional methods of managing your money, like investing into stocks or keeping your money in the bank and getting interest of it, those are probably the most outdated and inefficient ways to actually multiply your money. So yeah, main takeaway here is financial literacy is self-taught. You can either learn it or just stay trapped. Sweet. Now, if you've watched up until here and you're listening to this and you're in university, I want to be very clear. I'm not saying university is bad. It can be very great for a lot of people if you're there for the right reasons. But what I realized is university isn't bad. It's just not for everyone. If you genuinely love what you study, for example, if you're studying medicine, if you're studying law, if you're studying engineering, I mean, go for it, right? If you genuinely love it. But before you do, I want to ask you one question and be brutally honest with yourself. If you took money out of the equation, so whatever salary you're going to make in the future with those degrees, you took the time freedom out of the equation and you're working minimum wage, would you still do your degree? Would you still do that job? And that's a very honest question that you have to ask yourself. But if you're going to do those degrees, even a little bit of it is for the money, it's for the time freedom, it's for the status, you're wasting time. You're literally just wasting years. For context, I loved learning. I told you, I graduated top of my class, right? I enjoyed maths, I enjoyed physics, I enjoyed science, but I couldn't see myself doing engineering for the rest of my life. And that's when I realized I didn't love the path that I was doing. I actually loved the security. And most people in today's society, they cope by saying that I love my degree, I love my job, when in reality, if we stripped all the money and time from it, they wouldn't be loving it, right? And I've noticed this because I haven't run into this problem, but I've seen other people run into it. When you do something that you're not passionate about, when you genuinely don't like what you do, no matter how much money you make down the line, no matter how much time freedom you get down the line, you will just hate your life. You will never be fulfilled. You'll always feel like there's that one thing missing. And if you speak to older people, like people that have done your degree 5-10 years down the line, you'll see that they all pretty much say the same thing. So the main takeaway here is if you'll do it for free, stay. No brainer. But if it's not, it's time to look at a path that actually builds skill and not just status. So yeah, that's my take on university and why I believe it's probably the least efficient way to go if you want to make money and have freedom. But university gives you education. It gives you knowledge. It is honestly a fun experience. So if you want to go to university, by all means, go ahead and do it. And if you don't care about finances, if you don't care about time, if you don't care about, making money, go to university. Like, it's literally a great pathway. However, for those of you watching this that genuinely want to build a life of your dreams, you want to travel, you want to build something big, you don't want to just make 6 figures a year and live that for the rest of your life. Making money requires transformation. It's not about grades, it's about game. It's not about degrees, it's actually about direction. And if you want to learn how to build actual income and actual skills, what you need to do is go and find someone that you relate to, that's authentic, and learn directly from them. Learn from people that are already where you want to be. So what I'll do is I'll leave a link with my Instagram down below where you can DM me any questions. Maybe flick me a message on what degree you're studying and your reason for why you're doing it. And I can even give you some advice on whether you should continue or not. Other than that, enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.